I don't have any. Anybody else?
You have no time yet?
June 10th, yeah, June 10th.
Where do we start?
The perfection of meditation, and you said you went over it generally, and ended with, let's see, you talked about emotions and fear, and then what fears we have, the fear of death, etc. And then after that, what we need to do to attain enlightenment, and it's about not knowing who we really are, and so in order to reach that state, we need to improve the quality of our mind, making the mind more aware of all the time not just be awake. And this is our problem. And so we need to make the mind stable and steady, not fluctuating or wavering. And at the end, so as a result, our mind will remain, we need to meditate, learn to meditate correctly so that our mind will remain calm, serene, balanced, without agitation. And most problems can be induced by our mind, not by outside things.
Okay. In Lavrim, we are on this, actually on the 6 perfections. Again, 6 perfection is the primary body of the Mahayana path. Primary
Body
or primary parts of the body of the Mahayana path to enlightenment. The meditation practice is primarily to solve the problems of the mind, yes. To solve the problems of the mind. And then making the mind clean and pure and qualified to higher spiritual realization, which gradually leads to attain enlightenment. Enlightenment is the highest, supreme or highest state of
mind, being.
State of supreme and the highest state of spiritual attainment, yes. Supreme and highest state of spiritual attainment. That the enlightenment is actually our final
goal
or our final destination, yes. The reason why we are always longing for what?
For happiness.
For happiness. Our always longing for happiness shows that the enlightenment is our destination. Shows that shows that enlightenment is our destination. Without attaining the enlightenment, the constant longing for happiness will not be
Fulfilled.
Fulfilled, yes. Therefore, we will always experience, or we will have always that longing for happiness. The very purpose of the meditation is to fulfill that. To fulfill
that longing.
To fulfill that longing for happiness. Therefore, whatever we have, or wherever we live, we are not happy with wherever we live and whatever we have. Yes. We are always long for something. Long for something, which is what? Sort of better, right? Newer, and what? Different, yes. Better and then
Newer.
newer and different, yes. And then we cannot find it at all. We cannot find it. We may find a better only compared to what we have. We may find something as new only compared to what is considered as old. We may find something in a different way only compared to
How we have it
how we have it,
already.
how we already have it. And that goes on and on and on and on and on and on without what?
Without ever
Without
stopping.
ever changing.
Without ever finding any of those three that really fulfills our longing for what? Happiness. Yes or no?
Yes.
We may think that very longing for happiness, that very longing for happiness is a type of desire or not? Well, that's question, big question, just. Is it desire?
It appears as a desire.
No, it appears, don't come up with it appears and it can be or it may be, not that kind, right? Is it a type of desire? If it is desire, is it something to be eliminated? Oh, those two questions, yes. But today you take those two questions home and then do what? Homework. Yes. I'm sure it's not, for all of us, it's not easy to have that answer right away. Until we spend enough time to think, to consider, to examine whether that longing for happiness is a type of desire. If so, it is something to be eliminated or not. Right? In Buddhism, that very longing for happiness is not a desire. It's not a desire, to make sure. Yes. Why it is not desire? How it is not desire? I'm not giving you an answer today. Yes. I try to be a little stingy today. But take time, yes. Take time to check. And best thing is to find the right answer by yourself. By yourself?
Through personal examination.
Through your own thinking, analysis, and so on and so forth. That will be much beneficial for yourself. That will be much clearer answer to that question. If you find that right answer by your own thinking and contemplation and analysis. And that is also based on what we mean by desire and what we mean by longing. Is clear? And then desire for what? Longing for what? Yes. Desire for what? And longing for what? Yes. And then why we desire for that? Why we long for that? So those are all different what?
Different questions.
Different levels of questions that we need to clear out each of those questions with a clear answer. That makes the distinction between the desire and longing as very clear and lucid to our mind. Yes. Meditation, yes, perfection of meditation. And the last week, June 10, I think, yes, we did the general introduction to discussion on perfection of meditation. So, introduction part has been completed. Now, the actual discussion is the actual discussion is good to go to do the discussion step by step. Step by step. The first step is what is meditation. And second is what? Why we meditate. Third is what is object of meditation. What is object of meditation? Number 4 is how to find the object of meditation, or how to search for object of what? Meditation. And then finally, could you read number? Well, first one is what is the meditation?
Why meditate?
3, what is the object of meditation?
Okay.
4, how to search for the object of meditation.
Then number 5 is now finally, then how to meditate. Yes. How to meditate. Those 5, yes. Those 5, so what to call it?
Sequential order.
Those are the steps.
Recipe.
Those are the steps, or some kind of what sort of
The outline.
so you can say outline, yes, but headline. News like headline, yes. So the headline news, yes.
This is what we're going to be looking at.
In the actual text is called what? What is meditation? The main topic. Right? The rest are subtopic, yes. Rest are subtopic, yes. All of those come under the main topic of what is meditation. Right. And then here in a subtopic or so maybe not clear, then we can see as a headline, yes. Yeah. The meditation, what is meditation? That for that to that question, we studied over and over, right? The meditation means first, it is a state of mind, yes. Meditation means it is a state of mind. Wherein which the thoughts and emotions are ceased, yes. Thoughts and emotions
Or cease.
are ceased. And the mind remains concentrated. Mind remains concentrated, fresh and concentrated. Fresh and concentrated, calm, peaceful, deeply relaxed. And neither thinking nor conceiving, yes. That state of mind is called what? Meditation, yes. So meditation means, once again, it is a state of mind wherein in which the thoughts and emotions are ceased, and the mind remains in concentrated state, calm and peaceful, deeply relaxed, neither thinking nor conceiving. Yes. That state of mind is called what? Meditation. Yes. Okay, who can read? That's the full meaning or a definition of meditation. Yes. Yeah, Jason.
Meditation is a state of mind where in which the thoughts and emotions are ceased and the mind remains fresh, concentrated, calm, peaceful, deeply relaxed, neither thinking nor conceiving.
Not conceiving. Yes. So that state of mind is called what? Meditation. Yes. Now, with our intention and conscious effort, bringing our mind into that state. Yes. Bringing our mind into that state, and then keeping or sustaining the unbroken continuity of that quality of the mind for a period of 5, 10, 15 minutes is called what? Meditation. Yes. That's clear? But as long as we remain with that high quality of the mind, naturally the mind becomes what? Serene, fresh, and what? Active. Yes. Fresh and active. And very much aware. Not just awake. And that mind is very much in the present moment. Very much
In the present.
in the present moment. Without any reference of a past and future, yes. Without any reference of past and future, yes. Without any reference of past and future, where in which who we are becomes what? Complete and whole. Complete and whole, yes. We are no longer fragmented. We are no longer what? Divided into many what? Pieces. And we no longer have the sense of what? I or what? Me. Sense of I and me. Remaining in that what?
Present moment.
In that state, in the present moment, for a longer period of time. For example, if through training, if we get to the point where we can remain in that state for a period of 3 hours without having any what?
Any chance of losing that?
Any chance of losing that state without having any what problems of losing that state due to the what, sleepiness or due to what random what, thinking or thoughts. Once we get to that state where and in which we are fully capable to remain in that state for a minimum of 3 hours without any chance of losing that state is called what? Perfection. Perfection of meditation, yes. Which means we have perfected the meditation, yes. Perfection of meditation, which means now the meditation is within your own what?
Control.
Not control, yes. Or within your own what? Reach. Reach and control. Within your own what? Grasp. Whether we are sitting in a formal meditation or not, that state of quality of mind is always with you. Yes. Whether what?
Whether we're sitting in formal meditation or not, that quality and state of mind is always within you.
Always what? With you. So that is called what? That's the answer for what is meditation, yes. Now second question is
Why do we meditate?
why we meditate, yes. Why we meditate means So up until today, our mind is what? Malnourished by the thoughts and what? Thinking and emotions. Our mind is
Malnourished with
by
the,
the thoughts, emotions, and what? Thinking is. Malnourished means Jews.
Without proper sustenance.
Without proper
Without proper
Sustenance
sustenance. Yes.
required to sustain
A healthy body. Yes.
whatever
Whatever.
you're talking about.
Malnourished. Yes. Uh, that means what? The mind is incapable to what? Function correctly, properly, and what? Healthy way. Yes. That's what malnourished is. Mind is. And many of our life's problems come from that one.
that poor state of mind.
From that one, malnourishment, yes. Malnourished mind, yes. That's clear? Which means meditation provides or gives what? Nourishment to the what? Mind, yes. And helping or assisting the mind to be able to return to its what?
to its true nature.
To its original pure what? State. Pure and healthy state. Yes. Okay, clear? Yeah. Rebecca, could you read?
I can read some of it.
Some of
Well, I didn't finish writing.
some of it.
I didn't finish writing all of it down, so up until today, the mind is malnourished by thinking, thoughts, and emotions. That means the mind is incapable of functioning properly, healthily, and
Correctly.
correctly.
Ah.
Most of our problems come from that malnourished, improperly functioning mind.
Okay.
And meditation nourishes the mind, giving the mind
Helping or assisting the mind to return to its original, pure, functional, healthy, functional state. Is it clear? Is clear? Right. Therefore, why we meditate is we meditate to provide a nourishment to our weak, fragile mind to regain its
It's
natural strength and to be able to return to its original, pure, strong and pure functional state is. Now, for example, after 8 hours of physical work, after what?
8 hours.
After 8 hours of hard physical work, right? Then do we physically
feel exhausted.
feel exhausted or not? For example,
Usually.
let's say physically we feel physically feel exhausted. Right? because of that about feeling of exhaustion, physically we are not very well, incapable to function. Yes. Incapable to function. Yes. Physically incapability to function correctly, then what?
We can't produce.
It leaves room for what? Arising the problem. Yes. Yes or no?
Yes.
It leaves room, or it creates room, or it opens room for arising what? The problem.
Problem accident.
That's clear. Now, after feeling the exhaustion, taking 10-15 minutes what? Rest, right? And taking the healthy what? The drink, or food or drink, that really what? Rejuvenates the body. And then once again, we feel what? More energetic and fresh. Yes, no?
Yes.
After the rejuvenation, we feel more fresh and energetic. Right? That allows us physically to be more capable to what? Function correctly, efficiently, and skillfully. Yes. As a result, the outcome of the physical action will be much better. Yes. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm. So that's you can use that as an analogy, yes, or example to understand the problems of the what? The mind. Our mind is always or constantly what? Thinking, yes. Yes or no?
Yes.
Do we find or do we see that our mind is very busy in its thinking, yes, or not?
Generally,
Huh?
yes.
What?
Very busy.
But I don't think we,
Busy, yes.
but we don't realize it.
Whether we see or don't see, whether we realize or don't realize, but in reality, right, our mind is very busy in what? Thinking. Yes. That's also we could say in its what? In its thinking. Yes. Or thinking, yes, you can say. Very busy in thinking. Yes. Our mind is very busy in thinking, and being busy in thinking makes mind very messy. Yes. Makes mind
Messy.
messy. Yes. What is messy? We don't need to answer, right? Messy, we know messy. Messy can be very unorganized. Yes. Right? And very what?
Cluttered.
Huh?
Cluttered.
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 Cluttered. And also little what? Dirty looking, ugly or dirty looking. Messy. If room is very messy. One pair of shoes is in the corner of the house, other pair of shoes is other corner. There's the smelly socks here, smelly and underwear here, smelly there, smelly there. All are there like in a lazy college student kids. They live in very messy. Right? It takes what 2-3 days to clean up their room before their parents come here.
Yeah.
right? So messy, we know that what is messy is. So being busy in thinking makes the mind very what unorganized and what messy is. Is clear? That's one problem. Yes. Secondly, it makes mind unsettled and restless. Yes. Make the mind what?
Unsettled.
Unsettled and restless and agitated. Yes. Thirdly, it makes mind. It makes mind confused and fearful. Yes. Confused and fearful. Yes. And then it leaves the mind very what? Congested. Yes. Very congested and crowded with what? Thoughts. Yes. Congested with thoughts. Yes. Congested with thoughts, in which the mind becomes what? Rigid. Yes. Rigid. Becomes what? Rigid. There's no flexibility. Yes. There's no flexibility. There's no what? Agility. Very rigid. Yes. Almost like there's no choice of yes or no. Either what? Absolutely yes or absolutely what? No. There's no choice of what?
Oh,
Almost
yes,
no choice of either one of those four.
Ah,
It's
either
already
one.
pre-made.
Yeah. Yes or no. Why? The thought controls the mind. Yes. Thought what?
Control.
That thought, whatever that thought may be, that thought controls the mind and then making the mind not to have any what?
Any choice.
Any flexibility or agility or any choice. And then mind becomes rigid. It's called rigid mind. Yes. Now, for example, I will use one example. Maybe that example works or not. No. For example, right? We may have, all right, all right. For example, we may have a particular thought, right, that induces the fear. That what? Induce the fear. The fear of, for example, fear of going to what? Eternal what? Hell, if you don't accept something as what?
That's true. Or
As your savior. Savior. That's clear. Now that fear and thought control the mind, and mind becomes so what? Rigid. Yes. Narrow and rigid. Yes. That's clear now. Now, can that mind have room for what?
Flexibility.
Any flexibility that can ease the mind, that can reduce the intensity of the fear, due to its own flexibility, to have
Like different perspectives.
a different perspective and a different alternative, different possibility. So that mind most likely will not have those three years. It becomes so rigid. Yes. Usually rigid means what? In English, rigid means stubborn.
Stiff, unbending.
Huh?
Stubborn, yeah.
Rigid is the same as stubbornness. Can be.
Well, you know, these English words all have like, 10 different definitions.
Yeah, therefore, right?
I think more of it is stiff or unbending or unyielding.
That's better, yes.
And unyielding can be stubborn.
The unyielding, and then what? Bending, was it?
Unbending.
Unbending. That can have some elements of stubbornness. In general, rigidness and stubbornness are two different things. Though those two may share similar characteristics. The reason why we become confused, or we confuse between the stubbornness and rigidness, is because those two share a similar characteristics. But the function is different, yes. The functions of what? Stubbornness
Stubbornness
and function of rigidness, and the very nature of stubbornness, very nature of rigidness are different. Though the stubbornness and the rigidness share the what?
Common characteristics.
Common characteristics or similar characteristics. It's clear. Attachment and compassion, yes. Attachment and compassion, yes. Attachment and compassion may carry the similar what? Characteristics. Is clear? However, the attachment has what? Large elements of what? Selfish what?
Selfishness.
Selfishness, attachment. Whereas the compassion does not have any what?
Selfishness.
Selfishness. So similarly, in a stubbornness and the rigidness are two different things. So here in this case, for example, rigidness means what? Unbending and what? Yielding.
unyielding.
Unyielding. That state of mind is called what? Rigid mind, yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, what we are talking that is mind is so busy in thinking. That makes mind very what? Messy first. Unorganized, messy. And similarly, you have
Okay, the second one, it makes the mind unsettled and agitated and restless.
restless and agitated, right? Then
And then it makes the mind confused and fearful.
then makes the mind confused and fearful.
And then it leaves the mind very congested and crowded.
That leads the mind always remain as congested because of the thoughts and very well cloudy with emotion. Yes. So our current state of mind is restless, agitated, confused, and unorganized, and what unsettled, and rigid, and what
Cloudy.
and congested, and cloudy. Yes. Up until today, we can say we live with that one.
That state of mind.
With that state of mind, yes. With that state of mind, state of mind that is very troublesome and very problematic, yes. So such mind, that mind need to be corrected, yes, now. Need to be corrected. The way to correct that mind is through meditation, yes. And then meditation means a state of mind in which the thoughts and emotions are ceased. Mind remains fresh and concentrated state. Calm, peaceful, deeply relaxed. Neither thinking nor conceiving. Bringing our mind into that state and then staying or living with that state of mind for a period of 20 minutes makes huge difference on the quality of our mind, yes. Huge difference, yes. How the freshness and the clarity and freshness of the mind is very much heightened, yes. Heightened or increased. And agitation, rest and irritation, restlessness of the mind is very much decrease or diminish. As a result, mind is more balanced, relaxed, and calm, peaceful. Yes. As a result, mind is unusually clear, and more in the present moment, and content, or more joyful, one could say, more content and joyful. And less thinking, less judging, and the mind is somehow within your own control. And the mind is almost acting or behaving in the way you want, yes. That state of quality of mind may last for 5, 10, 15 minutes after meditating for 20 minutes. Then gradually, mind again picks up is busyness in thinking, and again mind goes back to messy and all of those things.
Bad habits.
Or bad habits. Now to overcome from the bad habits of mind is very, very what difficult is. Extremely what difficult is. It may take what 12 years to overcome from their what habit, not just what 12 steps. Not just
Not just
12 steps. The 12 step is pretty easy though. To correct your what, habits of drinking and addiction, you can even go what 12 steps, yes. Where you have to what? Confess
Yeah.
your what, weakness. All right? And make what? Strong what? Promise or pledge. And then you build the courage. Right? So like that, then you go 12 steps. So because our mind has those problems, therefore, right answer is we do need what?
Meditation.
Meditation, yes. Without meditation, there's no possibility
To correct those.
to
problems.
correct those problems of the what? The mind. Yes. And all of the negative actions and the negative behaviors, very destructive negative behaviors, that are very harmful to our own well-being and the well-being of others, primarily comes from that bad quality of the mind. Yes. As long as mind remains in what? Busy in thinking, right? Mind cannot see the truth of reality. Yes. As long as mind remains in busy in thinking, yes. And that mind cannot see the truth of reality. If you are driving a car on the highway, if the mind is too busy in thinking, that mind may not see the car next to you yet. Car
Right.
next to you, and then result is wreck. And then lawyer says, car wreck, call me. Yeah. Right? Whenever there is a car wreck, it's good news for the lawyer.
Banners that make you think of it while you drive. When you drive, you think of the banners. So you're
Yeah.
not focusing.
Yeah. Or if the driver is very wise, then as soon as you start seeing those signs in the big billboard, then and that should make you a more mindful. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of the driver probably may not notice that. Yes. Anyway, what I'm talking about, if the mind keeps you so busy in thinking, and the mind totally lost in their thinking, then that mind definitely will not see its surrounding. Yes. Cannot.
A distracted mind.
That's what we call usually the distracted mind. 厌恶. 厌恶 means it is distracted mind, distraction Tibetan Yangwa. Yangwa means right, sort of loss, loss and being unaware of the loss. Yes. Loss and
Being unaware.
being unaware of the loss is a big problem. See, that is keep in your mind, yes. That's my gift today, okay? Yeah, that's called the Yangwa. English word is called what?
Distracted.
That don't give that deep meaning, yes.
Distraction does not
not.
not convey that as well.
Distraction is almost like it gives meaning of you're looking like this. So here in the Tibetan Yangwa, in the classical meditation text, Yangwa, I will find out the Sanskrit term. What if you know that? Yangwa means what? Mind or you lost. Then you are unaware of what? Being lost. That's called the Yangwa. And that is the biggest problem of the
Meditation.
biggest problem of our ordinary mind. Yes.
How do you spell Yanhua?
Yangwa. Yangwa what? Y-E-N-G and W-A. Yangwa, yes. But I will find out the Sanskrit term, yes. Neela, you know Sanskrit term? You know Sanskrit?
Hindi.
Hindi. I will find out the Sanskrit term, yes. Sanskrit term is good. And that English, in that Tibetan translation from Sanskrit is very well. Precise. And English we call what? Distraction. I really don't give that much what deep
Correct meaning.
Correct meaning, yes. So Yangwa in Tibetan, Yangwa means what? Mind is what? So busy in thinking, and mind lost in thinking, busy in thinking, and then mind is unaware of what its own what lost. That's a big problem of our ordinary what mind that need to be really what? Corrected. The way to correct is through meditation, bringing the mind concentrated right in the present moment, very much aware and very much what? Mindful, yes. Gradually, and this and the application or technique or remedy will definitely what? Help the mind. First is not to what? Loss. Even loss, but immediately aware of the loss. That solves many what?
Many problems.
Problem, yes. Is clear? Yeah, we shall stop. It's 10 after 7, yes.